What's up? What's going on? It is a Panther Content Creator Wednesday. We are in the house, and it's a huge one today in the Desmond Johnson Show. I'm your host, Desmond Johnson, here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, tobaccoroadsportsradio.com. We've got two huge guests on today, Alex Bryant, and, of course, a man familiar with the program, Cody from C3 in the house. I had to go grab some more guys. We're doing content creators for the Panthers, putting some spotlights on content creators throughout the entire month of April here as we get ready for the draft, and it's a loaded show today. What would you do at number 8? We're going to talk about that with Cody and Alex. It's the 10-year anniversary of the 2015 Carolina Panthers team, the best in franchise history. We'll talk about our favorite moments and players from that squad. We will get into Panther True and False as well while I've got both of these guys in here. It's a loaded Panther-centric show here on the Desmond Johnson Show. Pull up, open up that Lunchable, get ready before you have to go back to work. It's the Desmond Johnson Show. Let's go ahead and hit that intro.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
Yeah, welcome to the Carolinas. Everywhere you go, the sky is Carolina blue, the finest. Live action, feedback, the city needs that. I've been number one, no cap. Here's the recap. Adrenaline is my addiction. I'm about to relapse. Step on the turf if you won't and get your weed whacked. I'm going harder than a martyr on the slaughter end. It's the heart of man, that's a rap like a cardigan. I'm breaking records, it's 4th and inches, I count the seconds. The over-under's my roar of thunder, my secret weapon. Yeah, the game is to be told. I don't break, I break modes. Follow me on Tobacco Road.
Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
And welcome into a new edition of the Desmond Johnson Show here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, tobaccoroadsportsradio.com. Brought to you by, there it is right there, Emergency Responder Credit Union here in Winston, Salem. If you are an emergency responder in the Triad area looking for financial services, ERCU is for you. You can find them off of Link Road in Winston-Salem, and they'll be able to handle all of your credit union needs. Cody Lachney and Alex Bryant in the house, two big-time Panther content creators online. You've probably seen them if you've seen us going back and forth on X or posting articles or whatever on social media. Cody hosts the free-for-all for C3 on Friday evenings. I believe it's still on Fridays at 7, if I'm not mistaken.
Friday at 7 p.m.
And if you've never done that before and you're a Panther fan, you like being online, go jump in there one day and just jump in the pool and see what happens. It gets wild in there sometimes with folks and their opinions of the Panthers. And, of course, Alex does excellent work on X as well. Guys, I kind of want to jump right into it here. Of course, folks are on their lunch break. If you guys have questions while you're watching this show, or just want to give a shout out to Cody or Alex while they're on, you can do so on Facebook Live. You can do it on X. You can do it on Instagram. You can do it on YouTube or our YouTube channel. Just comment in the comment section below. If it pops up here, we will post it on the air live, like Panther Pickle here is coming into. And others coming in, CJ saying Canales on K. Adams yesterday and Jalen Walker today. Listening to both of them talk about each other gives me XL pre-draft vibes from last year. We're going to start off, before we get into the draft stuff, I want to acknowledge, shout out to my homie, Jonathan Stewart. Believe in Panthers. We are trying to figure it out. We're both super busy right now with different things going on, and Believe pulling us in different directions as well. We should have a new episode for you, if not this week, early next week, where we'll talk draft and we'll go a little bit more about the 2015 team. But I want to get you guys' thoughts on the 2015 team. It's the 10-year anniversary. They'll be celebrating it all year at Bank of America Stadium, I would imagine. Give me your best memory or favorite player from off of the 2015 squad that was this close to being a historic squad here. Alex, let's start off with you.
Well, yeah, I was at the New York game because I live in New York. So when the Norman Odell Beckham Jr. fight was going on, and then having them come back, and then us winning the game last minute, surrounded by New York Giants fans. So that's obviously for me my favorite moment. What an insane game. And then my favorite player. I mean, I'll till the day I die, I'll rock with that Cam Newton in 2015. I've never seen anyone carry a team like that. I've never seen anything like that in the NFL as far as one guy literally creating the best offense in the league. He had Olsen and he had Stewart and he had some guys, but man, that version of Cam is by far the best Cam I've ever seen and one of the best seasons by one quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah, agreed. Cam, of course, MVP season 2015. Cody, that squad literally had the league MVP, the league coach of the year, the number one offense and defense in the league. One loss, went 14-0 to start the year, finished the year 15-1, and got all the way to the Super Bowl before they ran into the Denver Broncos. What was your favorite moment from that team or favorite player?
Man, such a magical season, dude. It still hurts. It hurts my soul that we were not able to bring that one home. But listen, my memory from that season, believe it or not, was in our only losing effort that season. Everyone remembers when Cam Newton, it was like a 3rd and 9. And we're playing Atlanta. We're in the Georgia Dome. And Cam Newton drug the entire Atlanta defensive line 9 yards for a first down. And to me, the reason why I say that is because that's so indicative of who Cam Newton was in 2015. He was an immovable object and an unstoppable force wrapped up into one. I don't know if we'll ever quite see that much of a dominant season from one player in this Panthers organization ever again. I hope so. But Cam Newton just being Superman on that one play is something that I will never soon forget for as long as I live.
Yeah, that was amazing. Him just basically hauling. There was a couple guys, a couple cracks at him on that play.
Would not go down at all.
That was the week after the Giants. Like I feel like the emotional momentum or the emotional like drainage of the Giants game and going to that Atlanta game. Cam was the only person that like had it that game.
I was lucky enough to go to the Panthers Texans game that year. It was like week 3, I think it was. So it was before we really kind of knew what we had. And it was hot. It was hot as balls in the stadium. It was like 90 degrees, and we were sitting in the end zone section where, one side you kind of get shade for a little bit, and the other side you just bake. Like if you're sitting there, we were in the bake side, so we were over there watching it. And I had funny story. I had won tickets from a local car dealership here, a Buick dealership, where I won 4 tickets to the Panthers game. And they gave us like a $85,000 Denali, like to drive down from Kernersville to Charlotte to watch the game. And so we were driving down in style. It was me and my wife, my sister, and her husband at the time. So we go in and we watch it. And that's the game where Cam flipped over into the end zone at the end and landed on his feet, basically. So we were in the opposite end zone. So you're kind of watching it like Madden. So you're seeing it like this way. So you can see it from that way. That pops up that I saw live. And then the conference championship in Charlotte.
Oh man.
When it was pretty much, it was a wrap. It was done. And I've talked to Stu about this too. The team moment on the sideline where they're all posing for pictures, like it's a team photo, and they're all like pointing over here and doing all this stuff. And there's one picture where they're all pointing over here, and you see Greg Olsen in the back of it, just kind of like doing like this, kind of just like he didn't know what's going on. But they're all like posing and having fun. And Stu would just talk about how close that team was, how that unit was, how they just played for each other. And just remembering that brings a sadness to my heart for what we've had to deal with the past 5 years.
Yeah.
The highs we got, and then just kind of slowly fall apart. I tell people all the time, if that Panther team had won the Super Bowl, there could be an argument made that they were a top 4 team of all time.
Yeah, one of the best teams to ever do it. Easily.
Because I mean, if you think about it, so they would have won the Super Bowl. They would have been what, 17-1 or 18-1, right? There's only 2 teams in NFL history that have won a Super Bowl with just one loss: the '84 49ers, the '85 Bears. It's only one team in history that won it undefeated: the '72 Dolphins. So if you're looking at it from that rate, the '72 Dolphins, the '84 49ers, the '85 Bears, the 2015 Panthers have been right there with them. And it's crazy to say that, but they were that close to being immortalized, basically.
We're probably right up there with that Miami Dolphins team as tied for number 1 because they went undefeated, but we also had an extra game. So
and they had the league MVP and the coach of the year and the number 1 defense and offense on the same squad. The number 1 rushing attack, like literally, it would have been really hard to argue against it. And they steamrolled through the playoffs. Literally, like they just. Like the song that just picked a bad day to have a bad day, pretty much. And even then, in that Super Bowl, some things happened where we're all, Kotri caught it. We're gonna we need to make T-shirts again. Like,
dude, it's insane to me that it's been 10 years.
10 years
in a decade, bro. What?
And look how much stuff has happened to this franchise in 10 years, from 2015 to 2025. Like ownership has changed. We've had how many head coaches have we had since 2015?
7, I think.
So,
8,
yeah.
So
Ron Ferris, Steve Wilkes, Matt Rule, Frank
Reich.
Reich. Now we're on Canales. So what, 6?
Do we count
Well,
the
then we had
interims in there too?
the interims. Yeah, the interims for
Yeah.
Rivera and for Reich. Yeah, so 6.
Yeah, so at least 6. So, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
7 or 8.
You've had like a head coach like every 1.5 years or something since 2015 on average or whatnot. So that's insane. So hopefully we're trying to get back to there. We know everybody's here today. It's of course the draft. And again, if you follow me, you know that I don't really go deep in 7-round drafts. I know there's some stuff back and forth online on Twitter with me and a couple other content creators where they're adamant that I wanted Ashton Genty and no one else and yada yada. I'm like, no. I said it'd be interesting to see if he gets attached to us because we're at number 8 and he's going to be a top 10 pick. And look at them now; they're attaching him to the Las Vegas Raiders at number 6. Go figure. So there's only there's only 2 generational talents in this draft: Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty. After that, you can make a case for a lot of these guys at a lot of different places. The name I kept seeing popped up for us guys, number 8 for the longest on offense, was Ted McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona. And I just want to start off right there and let you guys just blow off steam on that because both of you guys kind of were like, whenever I brought that up. I don't even see why we wasted time looking at Ted McMillan. Isn't he Xavier Legette, except that Xavier Legette catches the ball with his body and Ted McMillan catches the ball with his hands? That's really the only difference. They're literally the same body.
They're the opposite of each other. So Ted has better hands, but XL is by far the better athlete. Desmond, I'll be real with you, dude. I think part of the reason so many fans are so thirsty over Ted McMillan is because the Panthers did not make a big-time free agency move at wide receiver this offseason. And everyone still has this idea and this mindset that it is incumbent upon the Panthers to do anything and everything possible to get Bryce Young a number 1 wide receiver. So to me, what a lot of fans are saying is, well, who's the number 1 wide receiver in this draft? Take him at number 8. But I think something that you're hearing from guys like Daniel Jeremiah and a few other people around the league is that he's sort of over-evaluated this year due to how this wide receiver class is not very top-heavy. There's a lot of depth. There's a lot of good players in the later rounds, but there is not a Jamar Chase in this draft. There is not a Marvin Harrison Jr. in this draft. And if you have a problem with the amount of separation that Panthers wide receivers are getting, I don't know that Ted McMillan does anything to fix that as soon as you draft him. A lot of people are concerned about the breadth of his route tree. He doesn't necessarily run a great 9 route, and there sometimes he sort of fails to separate. I know Steve Smith has talked about that a little bit. I'm not a fan of wide receiver at number 8. If you want to trade back and get some more value to build up this team, I would love to do that. I think that's the best option for all of us. But I think if we grab Ted McMillan with the 8th overall pick, that's a massive overreach for my summation.
Alex, your thoughts at number 8? What do you think? Well, first of all, the idea of a wide receiver at number 8, I do live by the notion of if you're picking in the top 10, you need someone that's a game changer. And a lot of times that's going to be on offense. If it's not on offense, then you need someone, a cornerback, someone that's got some twitch, something that's different in the top 10 at least. Otherwise, what was the number 1 problem with this team last year? Depth. They ran out of bodies towards the end of the year, and literally squads were running for 200 plus yards up our back the last 6-7 games of the year. So yeah, we were in shootouts. Yeah, Bryce had a turnaround. That's fantastic. Good for him that he's figured this out. But some of the problems still remain. Like, we can't stop anybody from running the football. And the idea that another wide receiver in the first round would stop the problems we were having in the run game, defending it, it's just mind-boggling to me. So I see others kind of coming off of that and going, kind of backpedaling. Oh, yeah, we need defense. We need defense now. I was saying that back in like December when the season was still going on. Like, what are we talking about? We don't need to get something like, we just spent the whole offseason before building offense in terms of the offensive line and trying to get that right. We want to double down on that again with a wide receiver. It just feels like a Madden move to me. Like, it feels like something that people put out there to basically get clicks and conversation going and to drive that kind of narrative towards that sort of thing. My whole time, I've been like, we either need defense or we need to trade down for extra picks because we need players. We need bodies. And even though they spent a lot of free agency on defense, it's not enough. They still need more. They were 31st in the league. We were last in pressure rate last year. And you're still going with Clowney and Wanham on your edge. Like, they're a year older. Alex, your thoughts on this? Wide receiver at 8. Was it even fathomable to even consider a month or so ago when people were still on it on Twitter?
Yeah, so I think that wide receiver we need a high volume guy because I think that we haven't seen Excel and Coker and now Thielen being 35. He's he can't play 90% of the snaps anymore. He played around 70% last year. So I just don't. If we're gonna get a receiver, I've always been on Mecca Ibuka just because we've seen him be a high volume receiver before. I think that they need to get a Mike K always talks about working on multiple timelines. I think they need a receiver that's going to be 26, 27, 28. Because you have two 23-year-olds and you have a 32-year-old and more, and you have a 35-year-old in Adam Thielen. You got to get your mid-20s guy and somebody that's proven to be high volume. Elijah Moore makes a lot of sense to me because he was getting 9-10 targets a game. But as far as the draft, just because you can't get these kind of you can't get these players in free agency, they're not on the market right now. I think you got to go Walker. I think he makes the most sense at 8, or just this high. Because you got to think that your pass rushers are Wanham, who's in his mid-20s. You have Clowney, who's 30 plus. You got Jones, which and then you have you don't have like a younger guy as your pass rusher. So I think if you're actually drafting at 8, I think you got to go with Shamar, Mikhail, Walker, Abdul Carter if he drops. But at some point in time during this offseason, you got to get a high volume mid-20s guy that's proven it before, in my opinion, at wide receiver.
And here's my thing too. Fans and content creators need to start listening to Dave Canales and Dan Morgan, because they literally tell you what they're going to do. Like more often than not, they kind of hedge their bets and show you their cards. They kind of showed the Leggett thing last year a little bit before they actually did it. And this year, Dave Canales sitting with Kay Adams yesterday on Up and Adams, basically was like, we need defense first. Like she kept pressuring him about, are you going to get a wide receiver at 8? Huh? Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? And he's like, we need defense. Like, I mean, let's just be real. We need defense. And then I heard Jalen Walker talk earlier talking about Carolina and mentioning Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly, and it's Carolina and it's a good fit. It just sounds like that's just what it sounds like Dave Canales wants guys that wants to be here. And Jalen Walker sounds like he wants to be in Carolina and go into that lineage of legendary linebackers that the Panthers have. I mean, from Sam Mills to Luke Kuechly, like he could be the next one. So he's played edge, he's played linebacker. He fits Jiro's scheme where he can move him around. And it gives them the opportunity. You don't need to get Ted McMillan at 8. You don't need to get a wide receiver at 8 when you can go out and get a wide receiver like Matthew Golden or Isaiah Bond in the second or third. And they actually fit what we need more than what Ted McMillan does. We need another slot guy. We need a little.
Well, we need a guy that can separate, that can.
I think Bond's going to go real early, a lot earlier than 57.
I like Higgins. I like Jalen Noel. I like Matthew Golden. But also, this is why, Desmond, I would say that if I had my own choice of what we're doing, I would prefer to trade back. Because even if you look at some of those defensive names that we've mentioned, they don't really have a lot of the stats to be justified taken as a top 10 pick. And I'm not trashing these dudes. I think a lot of these guys project very well to the NFL, but that's what you're having to do. You're having to assume what they're going to grow into because their stats don't necessarily say that they're game records right here, right now. That's why I would love to trade back. But, I mean, just being honest, if we're reading the tea leaves like everyone is, I think that this Georgia backer is incredible, man. Carter is a very – is it Walker? Jalen Walker. There's so many names Walker in this draft, dude. I get confused. No, Walker is the man. I think a lot of people are starting to come around to the idea of drafting him, specifically with how well he would fit in Ejiro Evero's system. And a lot of people are not very high on Ejiro Evero's defense. But we all saw that when Frankie Louvu was here, he was able to use that type of linebacker that plays off the ball, but is also a situational pass rusher. And I believe that's probably what they view Jalen Walker as. Another name that I would love to throw out there if we're going best player available is Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. The dude is a monster. They're comparing him to another Gronk. I think that's another, not only is it another weapon for Bryce, but that allows you to run the football with those two tight end sets be aggressive. And we know that's what Dave Canales and Brad Idzik want to do with this offense.
This is why I love having Cody on, because I didn't even have it written down, and that's an avenue I want to go to before we go to Panther True or False. Although I just said I don't want an offensive player at number 8. If the right one is there that makes the most sense, they can do multiple things. The only one out there that I can see, other than I could be talking to Ashton Genty, because he can help Bryce Young in the backfield. People are like, well, you just signed Chuba. You just gave him all this money. Chuba Hubbard is not Ashton Genty. You know what I'm saying?
He's
Chuba
a war daddy. Canales just said he wants a war daddy. And Genty
he's a good running back, but he's not Ashton Genty. Like if you decide to put Ashton Genty and Chuba Hubbard in a backfield together, no one's going to be like, oh my God, what are you doing? Now, when they signed Rico, that kind of took that whole thing off the table. So that whole conversation just fizzled out. And I'm fine with Rico Dowdle and Chuba doing whatever they're going to be doing in the backfield. That's an upgrade from what we had before. So I'm fine. And I think they're re-signing Blackshear also. So that's fine. Tyler Warren is interesting to me. He's the only one where I'm like, okay, that could make more sense, because think about when Cam was a rookie. What was Cam's security blanket? What was his number one option all time? Greg Olsen. What did the Panthers do?
And Jeremy Shockey
move they made when they got Cam. Yeah, and Jeremy Shockey. They ran a 2 tight end system. So people were like, "Oh, we just signed all these tight ends back. We wouldn't trade it. We wouldn't draft a tight end at 8, would we?" Yes, the hell we would. Because if you put Warren with Jatavian Sanders, those are your 2 tight end sets. Now you don't necessarily need a number 1 wide receiver, do you? Now you got some options all over the place. You got those 2 at tight end. You've got Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette and Thielen as your wide receivers, and you've got Chuba and Rico. That now you're playing with grease. You know what I'm saying? You cooking with grease. That works. Like, I can roll with Tyler Warren at 8 if that's what they do, because Warren helps in the run game as well. Like Cody said, he can block. He's a specimen. He can catch out the backfield. He's literally what Bryce Young does not have. He doesn't have that Greg Olsen security blanket. Yeah. Now the problem is Warren might be gone before we get to 8. Because
lots of rumors about him going at 7.
That's what I'm seeing. Panther Pickle's saying that Taylor Warren will go to 7 to the Jets.
They don't have confidence anymore.
So but no, I'm
They've
glad you
also interviewed him a bunch. But it does, like, again, we're talking about best player available and who makes this team better right now. And I feel like some of these guys, like we talked about, they're going to need a little bit of time before they turn into who you want them to be. Whereas Mason Graham at defensive tackle, Tyler Warren, these are some of the guys that to me are day one impact players. And if you're not able to grab one of them, if you're able to trade back and someone's willing to move up, I would do that to try to fill out the rest of this defense. But I love the thought of Tyler Warren and Jatavian Sanders. Dude, that's what teams have been doing. That's what the Ravens have been doing. That's what the Lions have been doing. This is copycat league, you know.
Cam was a $4,000. He was a 4,000 yard passer with the Shockey Olsen 2 tight end set. And that offense was really hard to slow down too. Now, granted, you had Steve Smith in it, and you had you had Jonathan Stewart still in it. You had some things going on in that offense, so it was a little different. But that's the one I would entertain. But Jalen Walker, I'm kind of selling on Walker at 8. He just makes too much sense for what we need, and you can get some of this other stuff. 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, like people told me about running backs. You can get a running back in the 3rd, 4th round, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yes, you can, but it's not a 1st round grade. Like, you can get a running back in the 4th round. No one's arguing that, but it's not going to be the same player. Like, it's rare if you get a starter out of the 4th round, like, regardless. It's just rare. Like, a lot of times after you get past the 3rd round, it's a lot of just depth picks at that point and special teams and things of that sort. So we'll see what it goes. But it looks like the Panthers are really focusing on their young talent. They didn't do a whole lot in free agency other than plug some holes on defense. And there's still some players out there. I want to get the true or false because this half hour is going by super fast. Let me get to this real quick because I know folks got to get back to work. Panthers, true or false? We're going to just open it up for both you guys. Let's start right here. True or false? The Panthers will not draft a wide receiver in the 1st round because they think their number 1 wide receiver is potentially already on the roster. True or false?
True.
I'm going to go false because I don't think it. They're not going to draft one in the 1st round, but I don't think that they think Excel is the number 1 yet. I think they're going to get another guy.
I think they'll get another guy too. I'm not concerned. I think if they do though, it'll probably be somebody older because there's a lot of older wide receivers that are out in the free agency market
I
right
do
now.
think
Cooper Hill, something like that.
I do believe that as an organization that they still are really high on Xavier Legette. That's why they moved up into the first round to get him. And he was getting open last year. I mean, the drops are obviously what was bad and he needs to get better at. But think of all the plays that he left on the field as well. I don't think that the Panthers are crazy for thinking that he still has a lot of untapped potential.
And for those that think he had a subpar year or something like that, DJ Moore, who I guess you could say was our last number one wide receiver or whatever that was here, his rookie year, he caught like 50-something catches. Xavier Legette, 52 catches this past year, 4 touchdowns, almost dead similar to DJ Moore's rookie stats his year. And DJ Moore had different folks in his offense. He had Christian McCaffrey running around. Cam Newton was still here. He had Jonathan Stewart was still on this team. So it was a lot of a different situation and less balls to go around. So I think Xavier can grow into that. Let him grow. Like, stop being impatient. Let him grow into whatever he's going to be. Yeah, so
year 3, I think he'd be great.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good. So we'll go from there. Number 2, Panther, true or false? Georgia linebacker Jalen Walker makes the most sense at number 8 for the Panthers. True or false?
True.
I mean, considering the other players are gone off the board, I see a lot of Michael Parsons in his game, which is a good thing if you're comparing him to that. But also because he wasn't a full-time edge rusher in college, and neither was Jalen Walker. So I kind of think they're envisioning what he has the potential to be in this defense, and I think they like him a lot. Yeah, I think he's probably the pick at 8 right now. And he's like drooling over the Panthers with Kay Adams and stuff. It kind of feels like it's a done deal at this point, if we're being honest.
I think so too.
He was 5 on Jeremiah's big board that came out today.
Okay, so running towards it here. So we'll see how that goes. Got Alex Bryant and Cody Lachney in the house here. Panther Content Creators here on Wednesday's edition of the Desmond Johnson Show. Playing a little Panther True False before I get them out of here and get you guys back off your lunch break. Everybody back to your cubicles. True or false? Free agent wide receiver and Carolina native Keenan Allen will play for the Panthers this season. True or false?
False.
Yeah, I'll say false. I think they want to get younger, and I don't think he accomplishes that.
I mean, he's had some injury issues past couple of years. Was it the Chicago last year? I actually covered him in high school here. Those that know with Tobacco Road Sports Radio, we're knee deep in the high school game. Before Tobacco Road existed, I was doing stuff for other radio stations in the area. And Keenan played for Northern Guilford here, was a top star, left, played for Cal in college, got drafted. He is a home body. He is a North Carolina kid. I imagine he would like to end his career in Carolina. The problem is you already kind of have that guy, Adam Thielen, on the team already. So it's like, do you want to add another 30-plus-year-old wide receiver to the ranks and go that route? Because he's going to kind of do the same thing Thielen does. Or do you want to get somebody younger and see how that rolls? And I think that I'd rather go get another Jalen Coker type, like an undrafted kid that you don't know about and he emerges out of the pack that's 21, 22, as opposed to Keenan, who's had some leg and ankle injuries and stuff over the past couple of years. But it would be a nice story if Keenan came in and could be their 4th or 5th wide receiver or something like that before he eventually retires. Staying on the wide receiver route, Panther, true or false? The Panthers will draft a wide receiver, either Matthew Golden in the 2nd or Isaiah Bond in the 3rd for Bryce Young. True or false?
False. I got Noel or Beck in the 3rd.
I'll say true just because I do think that they do want to upgrade the wide receiver room a little bit. We know they were trying to trade for DK Metcalf, but I just don't think that Dan Morgan is trying to jump and overreact to any one of these positions. So I think if there is value there and they see a good option in the 2nd round, like Jalen Noel, I really like Higgins too. Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver from Iowa State. To me, he kind of is what everyone thinks Ted McMillan is. Better athlete, big, tall, strong, can go up and get it. But I do think that they will come away with another wide receiver in this draft.
Yeah, I got offensive tackle going in the 2nd. I don't think Higgins. If Higgins made it to 57, I'd be down for that. But I don't think he's going to make it to 57.
And maybe we trade up too. Maybe either we trade back in the 1st or even trade up in the 2nd if there's someone that we like enough.
And I don't mind them being aggressive. I actually hope Dan Morgan is aggressive, just like he was last year. I expect him to be. Matter of fact, we've got 10 picks overall in this draft.
Exactly.
So, move some stuff around. And I think what they're going to do is really address that depth concern that I was talking about before. Skylar Callahan, who's the beat writer for the Panthers for Sports Illustrated, that was our co-host on Believe in Panthers and my co-host for 4+ years. He harped the past 2 years. The number one thing that was going to hurt the Panthers in the preseason, me and Stu were like, 16-0, we're gonna win every game, yada yada. We're all optimistic or whatever in August, and Skylar's like, we don't have any depth. Like if someone gets hurt, we are screwed. And then
everybody got hurt.
Yeah, everybody got hurt early, and it just snowballed over the course of 18 or 17 games, and that's what ended up happening. Here's a good one. Panther, true or false? If Travis Hunter somehow fell out of the top 5, the Panthers have to trade up to from 8 to go get him. True or false?
Oh,
whatever it takes. Of course.
And this is where the show begins.
I mean, he ain't gonna fall.
What do you do if you're Dan Morgan? You're seeing Travis Hunter for some reason. It's the 6th pick, and Travis Hunter's still on the board. Do you run to the podium and try to trade with Las Vegas to get up to 6 to get a player that could actually handle not 1 but maybe 2 needs that you have on your team at wide receiver and in the secondary? What do you do?
They said absolutely not. They said no, we ain't taking trades.
I mean, I don't know. To me, it depends on where you value him. You know, like me personally, I like him as a wide receiver more than a corner.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be able to be in the wide receiver room and the defensive backs room while he's game planning for a team. I don't know, man. Trading up, I really just don't like the idea of giving up future assets anymore. I like the idea of building our team through the draft, and I think we're in a good position to do so. It might not be popular. I know why everybody loves Travis Hunter, and the dude is incredible. I take nothing away from him. Would love to have him, but I don't know if I love the price tag.
Yeah, you'd have to just move up 2 spots. I imagine you're going to swap your 1st round pick, so they're going to get the 8, and then you probably got to throw another one in for next year.
Yeah, your first. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, he's probably not going to fall past.
I mean, to move up 8 spots, 7 spots. We went 3 first and
3 first,
2 seconds and some.
And remember the Giants are picking number 3. The Giants are picking number 3. It looks like Cleveland and Tennessee are probably going to take a quarterback. So I think Travis Hunter is a giant, and I don't see them passing on him. So you'd have to move from 8 into the top 5, and that just
thought they were going to go after Sanders, but I'm not really sure. They have a full quarterback room now, so I don't know if they're going to go quarterback with when they sign Russell Wilson. So I'm not sure. That's a crazy quarterback room. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. Like you would talk about the most eclectic.
Dude, they're trying to throw touchdowns and save your soul.
While eating crab legs while they're doing it too. So they're going to give it all to you. The Giants are going to be a disgustingly horrible team this upcoming season. So we'll see how that plays out. One more here before I get you guys out of here. And this is a good one with the 10-year anniversary of the 2015 team and all the rumblings and stuff going on about the team and everything else. Panther, true or false? Cam Newton will pound the drum at a home game this season, the 10-year anniversary of the 2015 team. True or false?
I'll say true. I think there's been some rumors about them trying to smooth things over. I think this would be a great way to do that and honor that team. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say true.
I'm going to go true too. I think they have to. I think it's better to. It's not like the fans would like hate it if he did it, but a lot of fans would hate it if he didn't. So I think you always got to go that route where you get the least amount of egg on your face.
It sounds like that the team is open to it. They understand the situation, and they kind of got egg on their face last year when Stu and a bunch of the other legends went over to Germany for that trip, and Cam didn't get invited or didn't go, whatever it ended up being. Yeah. But Cam hasn't helped the matter by kind of saying some things in air, and him and Smitty had a back and forth about some stuff and some comments that Cam has made that may have been misconstrued in the media, taken out of context. But in the end, it comes down to David Tepper and what he wants to do. And this is what I remind people all the time, because they think Cam Newton is mad at David Tepper. When Cam came back in 2022, is that what it was? 2021, 2022? When he came back, when Matt Rule was still here?
Yeah.
I don't believe David Tepper ever wanted to get rid of Cam Newton. I think that was a Matt Rule decision. And I don't believe Matt Rule wanted Cam Newton back. I think that was a David Tepper decision too. And like, when you go back and look at it, when Cam re-signed with the team, it wasn't a picture of him signing a contract with Matt Rule with his arm around him or whatever. He was in David Tepper's driveway, shaking David Tepper's hand and smiling and everything else. I think he has a better relationship with David Tepper than people think. And I think this is a little bit closer than what it can be. I'm going to talk to Stu, see what's going on behind the scenes, see if they're getting something together. But I do think that something like this could possibly happen this year for Panther fans to get Cam back in the fold And once that happens, then everything falls down, and you can put Cam in the Ring of Honor and have him more involved with radio and other stuff, the way it's supposed to be. Like, he's the best player in Panther history. It feels weird that he's been kind of pushed off to the side somehow.
We don't have a long enough team history to be shunning the players that gave us the best seasons in our team's history, bro.
No argument. Best season by far in team history, and the best player on that team.
Like, this is a no-brainer. Get over whatever y'all got going on.
Yeah.
Do this for the fans. Do it for the culture, man.
And that's a good place to stop right there, man. This half hour went way too fast. I got to bring these guys back on. Shout out to Alex and Cody for stopping by. Shout out to everybody from their respective platforms that came through the show out today too. Desmond Johnson shows on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 12:30 p.m. live. You can participate in it like everyone did here today. Great fun show. We will be back next week. I'm not sure if we're doing Friday because we already did the Final Four preview on Tuesday. But we'll continue the content creator series with the Panthers. If you are a Panther content creator and you're interested in being on the Desmond Johnson Show on Wednesdays while we're doing this up to the draft, private message us on X at Des Johnson Show, or you can reach out to me on Facebook. I'm not very hard to find, and we'll get everything popping for you. So for Alex and for Cody, I'm Des. This is the Desmond Johnson Show. We will see you guys next time.
Peace. Keep pounding.